Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Very nice to see all of you here on a Saturday morning for Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we can start off, Shri Hari Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much. Thanks again for joining. So today we will actually read a technical part of Srimad Bhagavatam's chapter 8, Canto 3. And there are a lot of wonderful analogies that are there. We'll try to cover some bit of it. Okay. Before that, let's do the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandamadam Shri. Okay, what we will do is we will quickly look at the summary of what is there in this particular chapter, and after that we'll go shloka by shloka in the second half of this chapter. So give me a minute, let me share my screen.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Okay, so I'm hoping all of you are able to see my screen. Canto 3 is called the status quo. So the status quo is basically what is the status, or how are things as is. Okay, so this is where we are, and we are seeing the manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Okay, very interesting piece. So like we would have already heard from the first half, here we are seeing that Brahmaji is woken up on another day of his. So there is Brahma's day that is over, the Kalpa that is over. Then the night of Brahma comes, wherein everyone takes shelter of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. After they take shelter of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Brahma is the first person who comes out on the morning of the next day. And after he comes out, what happens? That's how the story goes. So here, Maitreya Muni, so this is what we have seen already. So the quick recap of it. Maitreya Muni is telling to Vidura that, look, I'm going to tell about how Brahmaji started his next creation. So the next chapter is basically Brahmaji's prayers for the creation or creative impetus to further his creation. So if you remember the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam, you would understand there is creation, there is secondary creation, and then subsequent. The secondary creation is what Brahmaji takes care, right? So for secondary creation, the elements are provided. What is all provided? We'll see that further. And what does Brahma do? It's not that he already knows everything, but somewhere he is getting the knowledge, and that's what is this setup here. Okay, so Maitreya Muni is starting off saying that, look, I am giving this knowledge to you because I have come in a bona fide parampara. I have heard this from authorized sources. The first thing that we would have understood last week when we did this is, in last session, is that hearing from the bona fide parampara is the only way of getting perfect knowledge. Okay, so this is very important. The parampara of Srimad Bhagavatam was mentioned. In this case, basically, Maitreya Muni talks about how his parampara is directly connected to the Kumaras, and he's coming in that parampara, so he's allowed to actually the Chatur Kumaras, the sons of Brahma. So that's how it is said. Our parampara basically comes down right from Brahmaji himself, who got the knowledge from the Supreme Lord. Okay, then after talking about this, then he talks about how Garbhodaksha Vishnu is now all the souls are in Garbhodaksha Vishnu. They are taken rest there after the partial annihilation. So we know that there are multiple types of annihilations that happen. There is one annihilation which is at the end of Brahma's life, where the entire universe goes back into the body of Karanodakshaya Vishnu. They all come from the pores of Karanodakshaya Vishnu. They go back there. There is a partial annihilation that happens every time at the night of Brahma, and at that time, all the souls they actually go into the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Brahma comes back. He restarts his creation process. And there is also another type of partial annihilation that happens at the end of each Mahayuga, at the end of the one cycle of Yuga. That means after all the 4 yugas are over, that time the annihilation is not necessarily to do with all the souls going back anywhere. That's a re-establishing of Satya Yuga that happens. So qualified souls are retained, the unqualified souls are annihilated or they are sent to the destination where they are going through the process of their karma getting them another body. So the multiple types of annihilations that we would have heard of. So this one particularly talks about the partial annihilation at the end of Brahma's day. Okay, then we saw, so this is the reawakening of creation that Brahmaji has to now start creating with the Lord's glance, the subtle subject matters of creation sprouted from the Lord's navel in the form of a lotus bud. So we all know that Brahmaji is born from the lotus bud or the lotus flower. So how does it come? It comes from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. His name Garbhodakashayi itself represents the Garbha is the navel. So we saw till there, we also saw Shloka 15 and 16. So Brahmaji took birth on the lotus and examined the 4 directions. He also got his 4 heads. Now when Brahmaji comes out, his knowledge is kind of wiped out. So for the devotees who remember Canto 1, you will understand that Brahmaji actually did not know what to do. He gets down on the lotus stem. He tries to identify what is there because he can't see anything. He can't understand anything. But he knows that there is something on which I'm sitting. So let me get down from that lotus. He comes down and then he starts hearing the words of the Lord that talks about the 2 syllables, tapa, right? So then he comes on top. He starts meditating. He starts understanding how to create and what all. So there is that description that is continuing here. So Brahmaji is not sure what to do, so he comes down. That's what we'll be seeing today. Then he's searching. He doesn't know where to go. He sees the Garbhodaka ocean water, and then he goes back on top. He starts meditating, and finally he sees the Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. How does this beautiful Lord look? Is the summary of this next set of the shloka from shloka 20 of this chapter, which from shloka 24 to 33. These are all analogies. We will try to touch upon some of them. We'll try to understand how we should actually look at this particular knowledge. What is the takeaway for us, and how do we relate back to it from our spiritual life perspective, and what Brahmaji finally did after getting this knowledge. Okay, this is the flow, and this is what we will do. Let's go back to the Bhagavatam shloka. We'll read the Bhagavatam shloka from here on. Okay, shloka 16. Tasyam cha shambhuruh karnikayam avastito lokam apashyamanah parikraman vyoni vrita netra chatvari lebhe nudisam mukhani. Translations and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here the translation says, Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, could not see the world, although he was situated in the world. He therefore circumambulated all of space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of the 4 directions. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Okay, nice to see so many devotees. So we did a quick recap of the first part of chapter 8 of Canto 3, talking about the parampara, the importance of hearing in a parampara, and the background katha of what happens on the day, on the initial day when Brahmaji is born. So there is the story of every day. Okay, so here we are seeing that Brahmaji has got his 4 heads because he had to look at all the 4 directions. He's looking around for knowledge. That's what is happening here. Okay, so we'll continue. Shloka 17. Lord Brahma is situated in the lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation. The lotus or himself. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water, and the lotus in great circular wave. It's very nicely explained. We should actually see the video around this when you get a chance. So you will see that there is this lotus on top of which Lord Brahmaji is sitting, and the lotus is swinging. Okay, so he's sitting in the center of in that world, and he sees that everything is swinging, but he's not able to understand anything. Okay, and he's trying this for an entire millennium. Okay, here actually Srila Prabhupada mentions that it's very difficult to understand this concept of the time duration, because from our solar calendar year that we follow, our time duration is so insignificant when it comes to the overall time that Lord Brahmaji is talking about here, or Maitri Muni is talking about here on the timeline of Lord Brahma sitting there and waiting, that it's pretty much inconceivable. We should not even try to understand that calculation. Now, with this great swinging, he's trying to meditate for such a long period of time, trying to understand who is he, what is the lotus that he's sitting on, what is the purpose and everything. And the answer to this, Srila Prabhupada says, we can never understand the mystery of creation and cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. Oh, very nice, right? So here we see today, even today, when there is so much of discussion and argument saying this is how the creation has come, this is how the entire universe is, this is how the universe is spread. So universe is so vast. If you actually go outside space, then you can do time travel, you can reverse time. Yes, these are all theories. These are all concepts that you have. You might have Big Bang theory, you might have the theory of multiverse, you might have the theory of traveling at the speed of life. The fact or matter of fact is we do not have practical explanation in this body that we are in, and we are only speculating. All these theories are only mental speculation. We're not being able to achieve anything. And somewhere or other, we can also understand that, okay, just because we are trying to understand these things, does it mean these are reality? There, some of this could be truth, may not be perfect truth. Some of this knowledge, if I put it in calculator, I might get the right calculation. It could be the distance to another star, the nearest star. It could be the distance from sun to the farthest of planets, let's say the Uranus or Neptune. All these things we might be able to calculate, we may not be able to calculate. In fact, now that there is so much of discussion that's happening around Chandrayaan 3, the India's mission to the moon and India's soft landing on the moon. Is it true? Is it false? Oh, shastrically, are we going to reach the moon? We should how we should understand this. If for the simplest of our understanding purpose, what we should also what we should look at it is that how is this knowledge that I'm trying to get helping me to get back to Godhead at the end of life? Is this directly related to the spiritual knowledge that I need? If not, how much of it should I take, how much of I should I not get into. We should not look at this as an opportunity for us to do prajalpa. Okay, all these isms, including the fact that I'm patriotic, patriotism, all these things looks fantastic when it's from an outside perspective. But like Srila Prabhupada's Guru himself said, you can stay in Gandhi's movement, try to achieve freedom, but the real freedom is when you actually get out from the clutches of Maya. That is freedom, not from the clutches of Britishers, not from the clutches of your material things, right? So that's how we should take it. Also for devotees who are technically inclined, devotees who feel that, oh, no, I need this knowledge for my spiritual growth, for my preaching activities. I try to preach in scientific communities, I try to preach in offices where people will ask these questions, and if I do not know the answer to this, then it will be difficult for me to take it forward. For such people, contact the right authorities. You will try to understand from a Shastric perspective. All our knowledge should come with Guru Sadhu Shastra perspective. And Srila Prabhupada has given us enough information around this. There are nice devotees who have done a good lot of research around this. So with our limited knowledge, with all the misguided knowledge of the world through newspapers and the social media channels, do not try to say that is the right thing, putting that into material, putting our material concepts into your spiritual understanding. That's why Srila Prabhupada very clearly says no one can know using our limited knowledge to understand even this material creation, what to talk about things beyond them. Okay, there's enough information. So if devotees have questions around it, they can always reach out to your counselors, your shiksha gurus, or look up for the right perspective from the authorized releases from the press. Okay, I'm hoping you understand, because this is a pretty hot topic that's been happening around, so I thought I should definitely touch upon this. Okay, so the human beings is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction. Okay, let's continue. Lord Brahma, in his ignorance, contemplated, "Who am I that am situated on top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water." Okay, so he knows that there is water. He knows that his lotus is swinging around, and then he asks the most intelligent question. Srila Prabhupada in the purport very clearly mentions the most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence. So this very question, who am I? Why am I here? And what is my purpose of life? This forms the fundamentals of your spiritual knowledge. Correct? So anything that you ask which is not connected to this this whole relationship between you and why are you here, or what is your purpose, everything else becomes material knowledge. How to build a rocket, how to do very nice cooking. People spend so much time in identifying the latest recipes, in trying to find, okay, what is this, what is that, how is this, how is that. All those are fine, but if you're intelligent, then you should do the right inquiry. You should inquire on the right subject matters, and that has to be to do with who am I. That's the beginning, right? So once you get the answer for who am I, then automatically the other answer, why am I here? If I'm the soul, why am I here? Oh, okay, if I'm here and I'm a soul, that means I do not belong here. Then what is the purpose of life? What should I be doing with the body that I have got? So automatically you will start becoming more and more intelligent. Okay, let's continue. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the waters through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going nearer to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the root. Now, by his own endeavor, he is actually trying to figure out what to do. Okay, so very nice, small but very impactful purport you see here. That okay, so Brahmaji understood that okay, there is something, that there is some sound that's coming, or there is something that I can see, that there is water and I'm sitting on top of a lotus and there is a stem that's going down. Let me catch hold of the stem and go down to identify the source from which the lotus has sprouted. So he has the right conception So he starts going as he goes all the way down to the waters. He sees nothing much. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada says you can understand the Lord. Such understanding of the Lord is possible. It's not that it's impossible, but you can understand only by devotional service, only by bhakti. Now, so we can see that this word bhakti, Srila Prabhupada always uses or explains this as devotional service. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, before coming to ISKCON, for me, bhakti means devotion. Bhakti inda ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. That's what they used to tell. So bhakti means devotion. Now, what does that devotion mean? Did not understand. Srila Prabhupada, very, right from the first time I started hearing, understanding. Oh, bhakti means you do service with love, devotional service. Bhakti is not that I love you so much, but I'll not do anything for you. That's not bhakti, right? So your love itself means you do something. And that is how we show love to our kids, to our spouse, to our parents. We do something for them. I'm sorry. We do something for them with love, and that becomes bhakti. And here, to understand Lord, bhaktya mama bijanati yamam istasmi tattvataha. Tattvataha, you will understand in truth only if you act with love. You with love, you serve the Lord, then automatically you will get the understanding by which you can understand the Lord in truth. That's the background to this. Okay, so every time you get an opportunity to serve the Lord, please understand this is your opportunity to display your love for the Lord. That's the understanding that I have from this particular shloka or translation rather, saying that look, every time I'm getting an opportunity to serve the Lord in any capacity, whatever is that service that the seniors, the authorities are giving me, I have to somehow figure out how can I do it with love. It can be serving other devotees, any kind of nice, simple service. If I'm serving prasadam, I should understand that the prasadam that I'm carrying in the spoon is not different from the Lord. Prasadam is the mercy of the Lord. I'm serving it to the person who wants to serve the Lord. So it is my opportunity to reciprocate the Lord's love. So I serve it very nicely, serve it to their fulfillment. It's not that I do, okay, I need to serve 100 people, let me taka, start with. This is my opportunity. That's my mentality. That doesn't mean I go to each person and say, Prabhuji, I'm going to serve you very happily. No, it's the attitude that matters, not the words, not how you show your humility. It's about the attitude behind the whole process. So every opportunity that you get, it could be doing abhishekam to the Lord or taking care of the chapel stand. Everything we do it as a service to the Lord with love. And what happens when you do that? There is a direct reciprocation that you get from the Lord. And what is the reciprocation? You understand the glories, the significance of the Lord more and more. That means you will understand the Lord even more. That means you'll start loving the Lord better. Correct. The more you know about the person, automatically your love increases for that person. And that is a simple measure for us, saying that, oh, am I progressing in Krishna consciousness? Automatically my services become better. Most of us would have been chanting today morning before we came to the Bhagavatam class. Is my chanting better today than yesterday? If not, then means I have not improved since yesterday. Is it better than 1 week back? Is it better than 6 months back? Is it better than 6 years back? Is it better than 12 years back? 15 years back when I started? That is your measurement. Saying that have I improved every day? Because every day is an opportunity for me to love the Lord better. Every day is an opportunity for me to understand the Lord more. So automatically I can measure myself if I'm doing better or not. Okay, we'll continue. O Vidura, while searching in that way about his existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel in the hand of Vishnu, and which generates fear in the mind of the living entity, like the fear of death. So Brahmaji, as he started going down, he started getting the heat, the effulgence of the chakra in the Lord's hand, and he could understand that okay, this looks like death. It's going to probably take me away. I don't know what to do now. So he starts fearing. And this Brahmaji still doesn't have the knowledge, full knowledge. He is only still speculating. So immediately what does he do? Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from such searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. Thus, controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Now he comes back. Okay, what does he do? Basically, he meditates, and this is covered in the first canto. Like I earlier said, he starts meditating or doing tapas to understand the Lord. So he is actually in the yoga form, and the topmost yoga, which is topmost part of that yoga, which is your samadhi. So concentrating the mind fully on the Supreme Lord. So by our own mental speculation, even if we are Lord Brahma, we will not be able to achieve. That's what we have very clearly understood. And previous look, we understood Bhaktiya Mama Bijanati. But by love, you can easily understand the Lord. So here is Brahma coming and showing his love through his meditation. Okay. So there are a couple of nice points in this paper. Just give me one moment. So Brahmaji giving up his personal endeavor and taking up meditation on the Lord, and Lord is a sign of his self-surrender. Is that what we are seeing here? 21? Yes. Okay. Which has been inspired by the Lord's mercy. Okay. Lord Brahma immediately, okay. So concentrating your mind on the Lord itself is self-surrender once you want to serve the Lord. When you self-surrender, it's a sure sign of devotional service. This is what Srila Prabhupada mentioned, saying that even surrendering to the Lord, or in fact surrendering to the Lord, is a sure sign that you are a devotee of the Lord. Okay, so ultimately you will understand the Lord and his different opulences. So that's what Brahmaji is going to do. And here Brahmaji, at the end of Brahma's 100 years, when his when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge, and as a result, he could see in his heart the Supreme within himself, whom he could not see before with the greatest endeavor. So when he actually did tapasya, so here the calculation of 100 years of time is basically the higher planetary system. Brahmaji lived for 100 years of his time, but here is his meditation was done for 100 years of the higher planetary system time. Uh, we all know the calculation of Brahmaji's life, like the 3.11 trillion years, right? So 3 trillion, 11 billion, 400 million years, right? So that calculation that we actually have. So anyways, we are not going into that calculation. So Brahmaji spent 100 of those years, and after that, he he developed the required knowledge. Okay, when we say Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavi, from the Hridaya of Brahma, the Adikavi, the Supreme Lord, gives him that knowledge. So Brahma is obviously receiver of the knowledge or receiver of the Vedas. Veda actually means knowledge. Now, one very important or very nice point is that Brahmaji, after he received this knowledge, started glorifying the Supreme Lord. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. We all sing that portion of Brahma Samhita every time we do Abhishekam or any big festival, right? And that is written by Brahmaji glorifying the Supreme Lord. And we do not have the entire Brahma Samhita. We should ideally know so much more he would have told, but we have that portion that talks about how Govinda is the Adi Purusha and Brahmaji is worshipping Tamaham Pachami. That's what he is doing. Okay, so this is Brahmaji's situation. So right now we have reached Brahmaji. He started off looking everywhere, got the forehead. He does his mental speculation. He does his research, does not achieve success. Then he goes back, meditates, or serves the Supreme Lord through meditation, and then he gets the required knowledge. And now he's able to see the Lord in the heart. Okay, so Brahmaji's search is kind of completed. Now, what does Brahmaji see? Who does Brahmaji see? Forms the rest of the chapter. So we can try to quickly cover and see if there are some nice analogies that we can take forward, and then also the conclusion that we should take. Brahmaji could see that on the water there was a gigantic lotus like a white bedstead, the body of Sheshanaga, on which the personality of Godhead was lying alone. The whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels bedecking the hood of Sheshnag, and that illumination dissipated all the darkness of those regions. So here he's seeing our Garbhodakashai Vishnu, who is lying on the serpent bed, who is lying on Anantashesha. The luster of the transcendental body of the Lord mocked the beauty of the coral mountain. The coral mountain is very beautifully dressed by the evening sky, but the yellow dress of the Lord mocked its beauty. There is gold on the summit of the gold of the mountain, but the Lord's helmet bedecked with jewels mocked it. The mountains, waterfalls, herbs, etc., with a panorama of flowers seemed like garlands, but the Lord's gigantic body and his hands and legs decorated with jewels, pearls, tulsi leaves, and flower garlands mocked the scene on the mountain. Mocked means made fun of. That's the right translation. But here, mocked actually means this is so much better than the best of beauties that we can see. That's what is mentioned here. Now imagine what we are talking here is this beautiful creation, right? That's the beautiful creation of the Lord. And here Brahmaji is having the darshan of the Supreme Lord, which is actually making fun of this beautiful creation, meaning it is, you can't compare something that is materially beautiful to that of the beauty of the Supreme Lord, right? So I had heard this wonderful poem that actually said, you know what, this is such beautiful creation. There are the beautiful flowers, the wonderful waterfalls, uh, the herbs are so beautiful, the garlands, the whole creation is so wonderful, wonderful. If the creation is so wonderful, what about the creator himself? How much more wonder will he be? And that's what is being said here. This is what Brahmaji is seeing, saying that when he sees the Lord, the rest of the creation is incomparable, uncomparable. He can't just, imagine saying that, oh, how can I say that the Lord's eyes are so beautiful? They are the earrings on the Lord is that of a shark or a whale, right? And Makara Kundala, and that Kundala is so beautiful that's hitting the cheeks of the Lord. Where will I compare this? Okay, so then the devotees say, oh, you know what, the cheeks of the Lord are so beautiful, reddish like the bimba flower. And then they think, is bimba flower the best comparison I can have for just that color on the cheek of the Lord? No, 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 no. It's so much more. I mean, that the color is so much more attractive. I'm talking about Damodar Lila. Most of you would have known that, right? So why are we using this comparison? Because this is what we can understand. We can't understand something beyond this because we can't compare to anything beyond this. Okay, that's the Lord here. That's the comparison that we have here. Okay, so we'll continue. His transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, occupied the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. His body was self-illuminated by unparalleled dust and variegatedness and was properly ornamented. Okay, so now Srila Prabhupada in the translation talks about the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. Now he occupies the three planetary systems because that's the three planetary systems that Brahmaji could see. The length and breadth of the Supreme Lord could not be measured by our own measurements, right? There's no way we can understand this. But just because we have to understand or put something Brahmaji is able to see, so we are saying that he's occupying the entire creation that's under Brahmaji here. Okay. So he's always magnificently dressed and ornamented to prove his transcendent variegatedness, which is important for advancement in spiritual knowledge. This is a very, 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 very important point. First thing, the Lord is supreme personality of Godhead. He's a person. He has his personal beauty. He is not. He is not someone who is imaginary. He is not someone who is impersonal. He is actually a person. Thank you, Prabhu, for muting. He is very wonderfully dressed and he is beautifully ornamented. Okay, what is it that we are supposed to know? The more we get attracted to this beauty of the Lord, the more we can understand the different aspects of the Lord's creation, the more we can understand that there is variety in his creation. it makes our spiritual advancement smoother. Because when we think the Lord is only an impersonal thing, impersonal energy, or the energetic, or he's the effulgence, he's Brahman, all this feature does not help us do one fundamental thing which I told right in the beginning. What is it? Bhakti. What love, what service, what will I cook wonderful dishes, what will I talk about Varuni cooked for Balramji on Balram Purnima, and wonderful dishes cooked for Krishna Janmashtami or Radhashmi coming. I'm going to cook something that is very dear to Srimati Radharani. This whole concept will not come if you do not understand the Lord as a person, right? I want to just today, when we look at the darshan of Jagannath, you will see that, oh, his crown is so beautiful. The Matajis and the Prabhujis are serving. They have wonderfully decorated him in the temple. So wonderful, right? So when we see this, that beauty is on a person, which is Jagannath, who is accepted, on Baldevji, who is accepted, right? These transcendental variegatedness, the more you understand, the more you will start appreciating the different varieties that are there in the spiritual world. And then you would want to you would love to go back there, display your love in these different features. It could be you might be attracted to the Vraj Leela, you might be attracted to the Leelas that are there in Dwarka or Ayodhya or wherever it is. All these are different varieties that the Lord wants to display. Otherwise, spiritual life will become very, very boring. And we might have a simple understanding that, oh, you know what, here I have uh, so much going on. I can see so much variety here in the material world. Why will I go to a spiritual world which is going to have only effulgence? So boring, right? So the more you understand the varieties that are there here and also there, then our wanting to go there increases. That means we are advancing in spiritual knowledge. Please understand, our spiritual progress is directly dependent on the desires that we develop to wanting to go back to the spiritual world, wherever it is, wanting to go back to serve the Lord even more. That that is something that we have to develop, right? That desire is ours. The reciprocation happens from the Lord. Our endeavor, and then the Lord reciprocates accordingly. But our endeavors is shown because we have that kind of a desire, and our desires also are supposed to be uncontaminated. Our desire is not for anything to do with personal name, fame, glory, my own positions that I have. My desire is, how can I serve the Lord better? How can I serve the Lord even more? How can I serve the devotees of the Lord, which is going to be pleasing for the Lord? End of the day, all our services are for the pleasure of their lordships. Okay, so very nice purports points. See, all these small purports, but Prabhupada has put so much information there. Very, very nice, simple point. If you understand the person, then you will understand his transcendental variegatedness, and that means you're advancing in your spiritual knowledge. Okay, let's continue. Shloka 26. The Lord showed his lotus feet by raising them. His lotus feet are the source of all awards achieved by devotional service, free from material contamination. Such awards are for those who worship him in pure devotion. The splendor of the transcendental rays from his moon-like toenails and fingernails appear like the petals of the flower. Okay, so again, what is it that we are going to achieve by serving the Lord? We are going to achieve the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, shelter of his devotees, the acharyas, the acharyas that we have, shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is someone who is at the lotus feet of Prabhu, the Supreme Lord. So we are going to get their shelter. Okay, so the Lord is actually showing his lotus feet to Brahmaji, and that is wonderful for Brahmaji himself. Here, Srila Prabhupada in the purport talks about how you can achieve the favor of the Lord, right? So the first shloka of or the 11th shloka of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it talks about Janma Karma Dhanavritam. Sorry, Gnana Karma Dhanavritam, very sorry. Gnana Karma Dhanavritam. So it's beyond Gnana and Karma. So our love or bhakti is way beyond Gnana and Karma. And I just told you previously how, our endeavor should be completely devoid of anything that is material, not a tinge of material thing. So trying to achieve jnana or trying to achieve through fruitive activities, which is karma, that has got material touch to it. We should do our pure devotion beyond that. Bhakti should be beyond any of these concepts. So what am I doing my bhakti for? Simple, for the pleasure of the Lord. I look at everything that is available for at my disposal, saying how can I use all these things in the service of the Lord? How can I favorably use them in the service of the Lord? That should be the way I should look at every opportunity that I get. Okay. Here, just as the conclusion in this purport, it says, after penetrating for millions of years, Lord Brahma could understand the transcendental form of the Lord as Sri Krishna in the dress of a cowherd boy. And as he recorded his experience in Brahma Samhita in the famous prayers, Govindam Adipurusham, Tamham Bhajami. Okay, Brahmaji, the most intelligent person in the entire creation. He is, owner of an entire sampradaya. He takes millions of years to understand Lord Krishna. Okay, so with our limited knowledge, with our limited exposure, do not ever claim that I know the Lord completely. In fact, Lord Ananta, with this thousands of mouth, is unable to talk about all the qualities of Krishna, because the quality of Krishna keeps increasing. What to talk about Ananta? Even Swayam Bhagavan is not able to talk about all his qualities, because his qualities keep increasing. The Lord knows everything. He knows everything about himself, and still, whenever he's talking about himself, the qualities keep increasing. And for us to understand, we should take it directly from Guru Sadhu Shastra. We should stick to the fact that I will understand everything that is required for me to know in my current position. That's what it says, that Bhaktya Mam Abhijanadi, you will understand me by Bhakti. What do you understand? You understand everything that is required for you to know. So whenever recently we had the Balram Purnima festival, right? So 2 days back, and we keep hearing from acharyas, from senior Vaishnavas, saying that anytime you have any doubt in spiritual life, any doubt in the knowledge, any lack of knowledge that you have, please go and hold on to take shelter of the Adi Guru, Balramji, Nityanand Prabhu, or your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Catch hold of their lotus feet. Why? Because your any differences, any misunderstanding, any lack of faith that you have in spiritual knowledge, you get the bala or the strength from Balramji, right? And what happens? You get the strength, the spiritual strength, to continue wonderfully in your spiritual life without having doubt, with having full faith. Okay, will my faith continue to exist? It will continue to exist. Once you start progressing, there'll be more questions that you will get. Catch hold of your spiritual master, your authorities again, their lotus feet again, humbly, and you'll get that clarified. Keep progressing. Keep progressing. That is the attitude that we should have. We should never feel that I know everything. And whenever you are talking to others, when you do preaching as well, when all of us are trying to preach to someone else, the whole expectation is, before preaching or during preaching, we always pray to the Lord, saying that whatever is the doubt that the other person has, I may not have had the doubt. That means I may or may not know the answer. Whenever there is a doubt for that person, please help me as an instrument to clear that doubt, because that's my responsibility right now. When I'm talking to them in a class or whatever, when I'm doing my Bhakti Vriksha, as a leader, it's my responsibility to clear their doubt. Please use me as an instrument. That should be our attitude. We should never feel that I know everything. Whenever you're answering, we should also understand that I am quoting from Guru Sadhu Shastra. We are not answering from our own mental speculations. So each of this, like I said in the beginning, each of this has a takeaway for us that we should understand, and how I should look at this whole situation. Okay, yes, the Lord looks beautiful, the Lord looks wonderful. Brahmaji is enjoying or relishing the beauty of the Lord. What does it mean for me? Okay, that's why if you see Srila Prabhupada's purport, he keeps emphasizing, look, there is something that you should take away from this, so that you can continue your spiritual life wonderfully. Okay, so we will continue. We'll go to Shloka 27. He also acknowledged the service of the devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face, decorated with earrings, was so pleasing because it dazzled with the rays from his lips and the beauty of his nose and eyebrows. See, the Lord reciprocates with this beautiful smile. That's what is the takeaway, saying that when the Lord is pleased with your service, then the Lord smiles at you. In fact, there is always this wonderful transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees, saying the devotees want to please the Lord, and because the Lord wants to reciprocate, he wants to give something to the devotee, but the devotee doesn't want to take it. And when the devotee doesn't want to take it, the Lord becomes happier. When the Lord becomes happier, the devotee becomes even more happier. And seeing the devotee become happier, the Lord becomes even more happier. You understand? There is this to and fro that keeps happening, saying that because it's unlimited, it's very difficult to say where it's stopping, who is more happy. And this keeps coming, right? So when Lord actually comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shrimati Radharani, Rukmini Devi, Narad Muni, they are saying that, oh, my dear Narayan, my dear Krishna, you will never be able to understand the mood of a devotee because the devotees are always happier than you. And the Lord is like the entire creation, everyone is giving pleasure to me. Obviously, I'm supposed to be the most happiest person. And then here, they are claiming that the devotees are happier than me. So I want to understand what is the sweetness, what is the taste that these devotees have got, which is better than the thing that I relish. And that's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I mean, the Supreme Lord comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand how does a devotee feel, what is the pleasure that the devotee gets by serving the Lord. Okay, now there are two wonderful things to understand. One, it is most important for us to serve the Lord for his pleasure. When we serve the Lord for his pleasure, the Lord reciprocates, which makes us happy. When the Lord sees that we are happy, he becomes even more happier. And his happiness is displayed through his beautiful smile. One part of it. Second part of it. Oh, so is my purpose to make the Lord smile? You know what? You can even make the Lord laugh. Oh, okay. So can I make the Lord laugh? Yes. Go tell the Lord, this is my plan. And the Lord laughs at you, saying that it's not your plan. It'll work only if I sanction it. So never go to the Lord saying that, you know what? I was reading during the Purushottam month, we were reading different wonderful kirtans and the translations and all that. And in one place, I think Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, Srila Prabhupada, in one of the translations in the purports actually puts it saying that, oh Lord, you know what? This is my plan. I think in the translation comes, this is my plan. This is my plan for today. So much money I've earned today with my plans that I have. I'll earn so much more. He's my enemy. I will try to kill him, and even more enemies that I'll have, I will kill them as well. You keep making plans which are material. Then the laugh, then the Lord automatically laughs at you. He says, "Such an unfortunate soul. He gets this knowledge. He comes to me, and then he wants something material." So the Lord doesn't easily give you your material things that you ask for. The Lord gives you all everything that you want material, provided you're able to use it in the Lord's service. The moment the Lord feels that you will misappropriate them or misuse them or go away because of your material positions, he will take it away from you. So devotees sometimes feel that, oh, I've been praying to the Lord, still I'm not getting so and so, I'm not getting a promotion in office, I'm not able to get more money, I would have got a bigger house, I would have gone and settled in a different foreign land, and so on and so forth. They have a long list that they try to go with the Lord and they're not getting it. So the way we should understand is, look, your next promotion or the next a place of work that you might so badly desire will squeeze your time so much that you will not be able to get enough time for the Lord. Simple, our day is supposed to be divided into three parts, right? So one part for my personal take care, including my sleep and food and everything, for 8 hours. Then we have 8 hours of work that I have to do. It could be household work, it could be office work, or whatever it is. And the other 8 hours I need to use in the Lord's service. I need to identify. It's not very small, right? So 8 hours of my day at least I should try to engage in the Lord's service. It could be traveling to the temple. It could be my chanting, my reading, my hearing, whatever different sadhanas that I'm doing, my preaching activities. Now, if I take up the next promotion that I get, then my 8 hours that I need to give the Lord, or the 2 hours that I'm giving today of my chanting and reading a little bit, that will be taken away. Then I will struggle to chant. Then, devotees now have a big car, and the driver is driving and sitting behind. They have their laptop open and their bead bag in their hand, and they are chanting in the car and going to office. Why? Because they are not able to make time for the Lord, because they desired something which is more material. Does it mean that Lord doesn't satisfy any of our material needs? No, that's not the case. If you're able to use that in the Lord's service, then He'll make you Ambani. He'll make you one of the biggest of businessmen. He'll make you very popular. All these things, your popularity, your name, fame, wealth, all the different opulences that you can get, if you're able to use it in the Lord's service, it becomes even more glorious. So you will keep increasing on it. Okay, so, and here, of course, we are seeing that the Lord reciprocates with this beautiful smile. We have a few more shlokas. We'll try to cover them as well. Oh, my dear Vidura, the Lord's waist was covered with yellow cloth resembling the saffron dust of the kadamba flower, and it was encircled by a well-decorated belt. His chest was decorated with the Srivasa mark and the necklace of unlimited value. Okay, so how the Lord is beautifully looking. This is what Brahmaji is saying, and Brahmaji is talking about it, which through the parampara, Maitreya Muni is able to glorify to Vidura. As the sandalwood tree is decorated with fragrant flowers and branches, the Lord's body was decorated with valuable jewels and pearls. He was the self-situated tree, the Lord of all others in the universe, and as the sandalwood tree is covered with many snakes, so the Lord's body was also covered by the hoots of Ananta. So Lord is the Avyakta Moolam, the root. Okay, generally no one can see the root of a tree, but as far as the Lord's is concerned, he's the root of himself, because there is no other separate cause of his standing. So we keep hearing this, right? So he's the cause of all causes, right? So he is so he's the Ashraya of himself, Swa Ashraya, right? So he's the Swashraya Ashraya. That means he's the shelter of himself. There's no other shelter. He is not dependent on anyone else for his shelter. Okay, that is the Supreme Lord. And very nice analogies talking about how the Lord's body is being compared with the sandalwood tree, whatever is there on the sandalwood tree, the snakes that are the beautiful fragrance that comes from the sandalwood tree. The way the sandalwood tree is self-situated, they're very strong and huge and very attractive. So is the Lord. More analogies coming in here. Like a great mountain, the Lord stands as the abode of all moving and non-moving living entities. He is the friend of the snakes because Lord Ananta is his friend. As a mountain has thousands of golden peaks, so the Lord was seen with thousands of golden helmeted hoods of Anantanaga. And as a mountain is sometimes filled with jewels, so also his transcendental body was covered, fully decorated with valuable jewels. As a mountain is sometimes submerged in the ocean water, so the Lord is sometimes submerged in the water of devastation. Direct analogies that we have here, comparing the Lord to the different things, right? So firstly, we saw the Lord being compared to the sandalwood tree. Okay, his fame perfumes the whole universe. Okay, like in the sandalwood tree, we have the different fragrant flowers and branches. So the different jewels and pearls on the body of the Lord. Sandalwood tree is self-situated, the root cannot be seen, but the Lord's origin, he's the origin or he's the root of the entire universe. The sandalwood tree is also called the king of trees. Lord is the protector of the whole world, and he's covered by the different snakes. The sandalwood tree is covered by the different snakes, right? And the Lord is covered by the different hoods of Ananta. We just saw that in the 29th shloka, and the 30th shloka is being compared to the great mountain. What is a great mountain? Great mountain is a shelter of lot of creatures, right? So many creatures stay there, and in this case, the Lord is a shelter of all moving and non-moving entities. He's the mountain is the friend of all the snakes. There are different varieties of snakes that stay there. Lord is also the friend of all the different snakes because Lord Ananta is his friend. Okay, and there are thousands of golden peaks in the mountain, and here we have different Ananta, the helmets on the head of Ananta. what is one thing that's available in the mountains is obviously the wonderful jewels that are there. A lot of lot of treasure hunters actually seek different kind of treasures or jewels that are there in the mountains. So obviously the greatest of jewels are decorated on the body of the Lord. He is Bhushananam. Bhushanam is the ornament of the ornaments. All the ornaments are decorated on him, which beautify the ornaments. They don't beautify the Lord, they actually beautify the ornaments because they are on the wonderful body of the Lord. And finally, part of the mountain can be submerged within the water, and during the devastation, you'll actually see sometimes there is submerging of Garbhodaka Vishnu in that water in the Garbhodaka ocean. So direct analogies, these are nice analogical questions that you would get if you are attending your Bhakti Vaibhav courses. So you'll actually get these. I don't know if I'm hearing the background noise. Okay, I see everyone is muted. Okay, let's continue. We have just a couple more shlokas. We'll continue shloka 31. Lord Brahma, thus looking upon the Lord in the shape of a mountain, concluded that he was Hari, the personality of Godhead. He saw that the garland of flowers on his chest glorified him with Vedic wisdom. In sweet songs, looked very beautiful. He was protected by the Sudarshana wheel for fighting, and even the sun, moon, air, fire, etc., could not have access to him. So, in simple, you see that entire creation that Brahmaji will make, which will have all the different elements, everything, none of them have access to this Supreme Personality of Godhead as Garbhodaka Vishnu. Okay, and there was someone who actually asked this question recently, saying that, oh, there is flower garland on the neck of the Lord. Will the garland actually not, go bad? The fact is, even the higher planetary system, the demigods, they wear garlands that does not spoil. Forget about the garland that's there on the beautiful form of the Lord. Okay, so Brahmaji identified him as Lord Hari, the Supreme Lord, for whom he's done his meditation. So he identifies there. There are beautiful songs that are written on that glories of the Lord, and he is not accessible to everyone. When Lord Brahma, the maker of the universal destination, thus saw the Lord, he simultaneously glanced over the creation. Lord Brahma saw the lake in Lord Vishnu's navel, and the lotus flower, as well as the devastating water, the drying air, and the sky all became visible to him. So we started off today, and Lord Brahma could not understand anything. All he could do was he looked at all the directions, saying that, okay, can I understand this? Can I understand what is, where am I? What is all this? Now, after meditation, the Lord actually is giving him this knowledge through which he's able to see everything. And when he sees the different pieces in the Lord's body, that actually inspires his different creation as well. Okay, so he actually takes guidance from the Lord. And the last part of this shloka that talks about Lord Brahma, as being surcharged with the mode of passion, became inclined to create. And after seeing the 5 causes of creation indicated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the path of creative mentality. So you will see that Lord Brahmaji is actually praying to give him the power for creation. So here they are talking about he's seeing the 5 causes of creation. Though in the translation there is, and sorry, in the purport there is not much explanation given by Srila Prabhupada. In the Shubhodhini, I see that there are 5 factors that are given in that talks about the lotus in the Lord's navel, Brahmaji himself, devastating water, drying air, and the sky. These are the ingredients of creation. These are the 5 things that Brahmaji saw, and he accepted these 5 things as okay. And his obviously his creation requires an extreme important thing, which is the mode of passion. So in his mode of passion, now he's going to start creating. So he's going to take shelter, he's going to take blessings of the Lord, and then he's going to create. So that's what is the sum and substance of what we have in this chapter. Okay, even if one is in the material mode of passion, to create something in the world, he has to take the shelter of the Supreme for the necessary energy. That is the path of successful termination of any attempt. Now, despite the fact that you might pray to the Lord, your endeavor may or may not be successful based on your calculation. For example, I pray to the Lord saying that, oh, okay, today I have my exam, I should get full marks. If I don't get full marks, it's not because the Lord is not approved my prayer. You will get what you deserve, what you really deserve, and that would be a combination of your karma, your effort, endeavor, and a lot of other factors, right? So just because I'm praying doesn't mean that I will be successful to the extent that I want. But whenever I'm praying to do any work, the work itself becomes successful because I've involved the Lord in that work. That's where we never bother about the success or never bother about the result of my endeavor. It's always my endeavor. Is it for or favorable in the service of Krishna? Okay, so that's what we have here. That's end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the third canto, chapter 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Okay, I'll stop here. I know this was a very technical chapter, but there are a few takeaways that I thought were important based on whatever notes I could make. So I tried passing it on to all of you. So if anyone has any questions or any comments on what I've just mentioned, feel free. Okay, out of silence, does it mean that everyone is fine?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Mine is a very general question. Could you just highlight the significance of Chaturmasya austerity? Like we avoid certain things like curds, greens, vridda.
Sure, Mataji, it's outside today's topic. I'll see if anyone has a question on today's topic. Feel free to ask. I'll answer Komala Mataji in simple. Yeah, Shama Mataji, you have a question?
Prabhu, actually, I joined a little late. Can you just summarize, like in, I think 2-3 shlokas you started, right? It would be great just a summarize or crisp of those things, Prabhu.
Okay,
Thank
fair
you.
enough. Okay, so basically, let me summarize chapter 8 itself completely, and then I'll answer the Chaturmasya question, Mataji. So chapter 8, basically, Maitreya Muni is telling to Vidura about how Brahmaji is now born on the next day of Brahma. So the night is over, they were all in the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he's born, what happens? That's this chapter all about. So firstly, Maitreya Muni talks about why he is qualified to give this knowledge, because he's coming in the disciplic succession or in the parampara, which is very, very important. Then obviously the katha starts with saying that Brahmaji is now come. He is born on the lotus flower, on the wall of the lotus. He's sitting on top. He opens his eye. He sees nothing is there. And then he wants to understand. So he's looking around, and because he tries to look at all the four directions, he's actually getting the four heads. Then he decides, okay, now I'm sitting on some flower. There looks like a stem because there is a wind that comes in, and the flower is actually shaking, and there is water that he could see. So he actually gets hold of the stem. He starts climbing down. He tries to reach to the water. He's not able to understand. So Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada mentions that with our own endeavor, we can never understand the Lord. Then he comes back to the top. He actually meditates, like we heard in the first canto. He's actually doing tapa, meditating on the Lord. And then the Lord reveals himself as Paramatma, as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He sees Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and he's glorifying Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Obviously, the Brahma Samhita prayers were informed. But how does the Lord look for Brahmaji is actually the second half of this particular chapter, wherein he talks about how wonderfully Brahmaji, how wonderfully Garbhodaksha Vishnu looks. He has the beautiful darshan of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. How is he ornamented? What are the different transcendental variegatedness that's there, and how we should actually apply these in our life for our spiritual advancement. That's what we actually saw today, Mataji. That's the summary of what we had. And end of it, Brahmaji is now very clear that, okay, now I need to do creation. So let me pray to the Supreme Lord. So in the next chapter, you will actually see Brahmaji praying for his spiritual, for creation, for giving him the power to create in the mode of passion. That's what we have here.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Actually, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome, Mataji. So, Komala Mataji, to your question, Chaturmasya is basically the 4 months of rainy season. This is applicable for sannyasis, for devotees who actually travel everywhere. They don't get attached to any place. So these 4 months, because it's very difficult to travel, it's raining, they stay in one particular place. Okay, and the importance is because if they continue to stay in one place, sannyasis usually do not get attracted to anything. In fact, they do not even stay under the same tree for more than 2 days. The third night they are into a different tree. Now that they have to stay in the same place for 4 months, they try to follow different austerities, different tapasya, so that they are not attracted or attached to whatever is the situation that they have got. That is the reason why basically Chaturmasya was followed. Now Chaturmasya, because they're going to stay in one place, becomes very nice opportunity for uh, for general public to associate with sannyasi. So they get association. That means during Chaturmasya, we can do a lot of spiritual activities, serving, wonderful Vaishnavas and serving the Supreme Lord. So as devotees, we also take up certain austerities. Like the first month, we do not take grains. This particular month, we do not take the curd. Next month, we'll not take milk. And the fourth month, we do not take urad dal. These are some things that we try to stop, because I'm trying to give up something for the pleasure of the Lord. See, end of the day, I'm doing this so that I'm gratifying my body lesser and lesser, gratifying my senses lesser and lesser. The lesser I put effort on my body and my senses, the more I can put that effort on the Lord. So how do we look at Chaturmasya is very simple. We follow the austerity that we can do. We do more charity that we can do. We do more sadhana that we should try to do. Whatever is little extra that we can do in Chaturmasya. Some devotees take commitment of not having a shave. Some Prabhujis who do not actually go to office, they actually take such commitments. Some devotees take the commitment of, in this 4 months I will finish off one particular book. It could be one canto of Srimad Bhagavatam end to end, or 3 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, or Chaitanya Charitamrita. In this particular month, I'm going to do a little bit more than what I've been generally doing. And for generally for us, the way we should look at is, yes, follow the simple process of stopping, the grains and the curd and milk, because that's what our acharyas have told us, our spiritual masters follow. So we can also follow that and read more, hear more, and chant more. That is how we should use our Chaturmasya. That's both the background, Mataji. And the simplest and the easiest of examples we always hear is this: Chaturmasya was the time when Narad Muni in his previous life actually served the Vaishnavas, because the Vaishnavas were staying there for 4 months. In these 4 months, his mother and he, the little boy, Narad Muni's previous life, so he wonderfully served them, and by their blessings, just by serving them sincerely for 4 months, next lifetime he became Narad Muni. And we know the glories of Narad Muni. There's so much unlimited glory of Narad Muni that we have. So what we should look at it is, this is an opportunity for serving, and the Lord becomes more pleased. Right? Any special day, any special occasion is even more mercy of the Lord. And that is how we should take it. Okay, that's on the Chaturmasya. Komala Mataji, I'm hoping you're okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So it's more that sannyasis follow, and also the grihasthas also follow.
Sannyasis have to follow, because, like I said, their travel becomes restricted. Grihasthas have to follow because it's an opportunity to serve the sannyasis or serve the Lord little bit more. See, like I just mentioned in the class, saying that every opportunity that we have to serve is an opportunity for us to display how much love we have for the Lord and His devotees. Right, so we should use each of these opportunities every day, for that matter. I mean, we need not wait for Chaturmasya. We don't need to wait for Purushottam month. We don't need to wait for Kartik month. Every day is an opportunity. Extra months, Janmashtami, extra special, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So little bit more, I understand the Lord. I try to become closer to the Lord every moment. Yes, Swati Mataji, you have a question.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful session, Prabhuji. I'm having a doubt. Why the specific in Chaturmasa? What is the reason behind that, Prabhuji? For specific, like leaves, urad dal, milk. What is the reason? Why these items only?
See, I can try speculating why this. So basically, because it's a rainy season, they try to avoid getting things that are difficult to procure. During rainy season, greens are difficult to procure. So that's how they start with greens. The rest of it, I don't have a lot of details, but this because this is mentioned in the Shastras, like I said, Guru Sadhu Shastra, if it's authoritatively coming from the Shastras, it's followed by the Acharyas. They tell us to follow, we just follow it. Don't have to spend too much time on trying to understand, because see, if they tell us to stop this and we stop it, that is sufficient to please the Lord. Trying to research and not trying to get an answer is just waste of time. There are a lot of devotees who have done this research. You can Google around it, saying why these four things, what happens if I do, what happens if I don't do, and all that. You can actually search for it. For me, it makes very less difference between if knowing this or not knowing this. Sometimes we should take it on its face value, saying that okay, the acharyas have mentioned, my spiritual master follows, my spiritual authorities follow. Let me also follow. That's all. It just pleases the Lord.
Thank you,
The-
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you. So wonderful Janmashtami coming up. We have a lot of programs for devotees in Bangalore. Please take time, come attend the programs in Jagannath Mandir. We have 6th, 7th, 8th, back-to-back packed programs that are planned. So make sure you're all there. At least go to the nearest place where the programs are happening. Extra merciful day, really extra merciful day. To understand the Lord. Little bit more you please the Lord, little bit tighter your spiritual progress becomes. Okay, so I will stop here. I'll pass it back to Sri Hari Prabhu. Prabhu, you have anything, comments or any announcements that you have?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. No, I don't have any other announcements. Just the Janmashtami is up and very nearby. So thank you for inviting everyone, Prabhuji. And Prabhu is very actively leading Janmashtami festival in our temple. So please come. It's a very wonderful festival. You all know, obviously, that it's the best festival. So please come to the temple. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.